Hey, welcome to the College Hockey Show. I am Jeremiah Maxwell. Sorry, Avi, we kept you hanging there. We got the Degenerate Bostonian with us. Avi, it's weird. It's not showing you live. That's so weird. How's it going, Mike? How we doing today?
Not bad. Happy Friday, everybody.
Yeah, happy Friday. Lots of great games tonight. Providence, BC, Maine, Yukon, BU, UNH, Michigan, MSU, St. Cloud, ASU. We'll go all over all those. Mike has those. We got to talk a little bit about what happened last week. The big one was Merrimack split with BC.
Savage plus 425. Oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
the Savage. Yeah, the Savage hit it at plus 425. That's a big one. Yale beat Dartmouth. I don't know. Is that really that huge an upset? Just because Ivy League are going to.
It knocked Dartmouth from 12 to like 20 or somewhere there. Like it knocked them out of the top 16, and it was a plus 700. UConn sweeping UNH. I got to give props to Frisbee Bryan, the guy who I go to my disc golf stuff for.
Yeah.
That loser hummed $5 on it and turned it into 50. So I got to give him props for betting the sweep. And then Duluth beating St. Cloud. As I said, St. Cloud is one of those teams I said you can't lose. And
right.
Duluth is now, they lost to a bad Duluth team. Whereas Duluth now is in the 30s, and like that's because they moved up. So it's you got work to do. But I mean, there were some good upsets last week, and this is why I love coming back after the juniors. Everyone's settling in. I think maybe because BC had sent 6 guys to Team USA, a couple on Team Canada, a couple of Swedes. Like most of that team was out. So Merrimack kind of got them fresh. And this is, it's kind of why I like coming back. So now everyone's at full throttle. I think like BU last week was a little wounded. They played Princeton, so they took care of their business.
Right.
I actually think the tournament, just based off history, the last 4 or 5 years, Boston University has caught fire after the juniors. And I'm expecting the same out of them. UNH Brock, dude, I was about to tip that too, Avi. UNH at home tonight is like kind of tempting. I love the Whittemore. It's one of those places you got to get to. But I'm curious if UNH can hold back. They have all the students there tonight. I know they're going to have the fishermen there tonight. The full band's going to be back. It's tough. Whittemore's a tough place to play when it sells out. And
UNH is one of those teams. BU on the same boat. They're on the borderline, right?
Yeah, it's
and the pairwise has BU at 8 right now, which is ridiculous to me. But Avi thinks BU wins 6-4.
I think that's fair. I don't think Karan is all that. Karan last year was not great regular season. In the tournament, the dude becomes a brick wall, and they nearly beat Denver. In the first 4.
Well, let's just get so we kind of have brushed over what happened last week between Merrimack splitting with BC. I just wonder, Leonard coming back, all these guys coming back from the World Juniors, probably a little rusty, didn't get the rest that everybody else got,
right.
Which I think probably made people a little bit just probably made people a little bit rusty on the ice, and maybe the hockey wasn't great.
Absolutely. But also different line mates too. Like you're playing with, BC's top line stayed together, but you've got a guy like Sigma at BC who wasn't on his same line. Now he's getting thrown into, he's been playing with these guys all year, but not the last 2-3 weeks. He's got a whole different game he's got to adapt to. So I'll use that as an example of just, they're rusty. I think you said it yourself there.
Yeah. Before we get into the games, Avi, I just want to recap. Yale beating Dartmouth. We said, what about UConn sweeping UNH and maybe this being a big –
huge. UConn went from 22 to 11.
Right.
Like that put them right in the thick of things. That puts them in – now we have to talk about a 7th Hockey East team, like potentially making the tournament, which I think is insane. You get 7. That to me is I think it speaks. Yeah, it's a strong conference.
We need to expand the tournament. It's become a problem.
Absolutely. Like, I get the pairwise, how it works. Like, they just released, what would happen today if the season ended. And I agree with how the pairwise is built, right? I beat you, you beat so-and-so. So like, I get that. And I'm in the tournament. So my win ranks more than you. But here's a flaw in it.
If we just went to 34, this is a non-factor. This is a non-factor. If you go to 34, you get the best teams in the country. We have 64 teams. I don't think it's and the D1 pairwise right now. Hopefully we can add 70 or so here in the coming years. 34, it's cut down to 16 like that. And I don't understand what the pushback would be from the Big Ten, the Hockey East, whoever. If you're good, you're going to beat the teams.
Right.
Play the number one team in the country, could play the 34th ranked team in the pairwise, which, by the way, if they were using the pairwise, would be like Colorado College or University of Alaska Fairbanks, which would be great for all these other schools, Michigan State or Michigan Tech, Penn State, Colgate, Cornell, Vermont, Merrimack, Clarkson, Dartmouth, Northeastern. Northeastern, see them win the Bean Pot every other year. I don't understand. So, yeah, Avi, I would be fine with it too. It's ridiculous. It's one extra game. Why wouldn't we do this?
And you can fit it in the same time frame too, because there's a bye week before the Frozen Four. I'm like, just get rid of that bye week.
Right. Wisconsin is 19th in the pairwise, by the way. They're 9-12-1. Explain that one to me.
So they have great wins against like Michigan State. They have bad losses. Actually, Augustana is not looking like a horrible loss anymore.
North Dakota is tied with them at 12-8-1 in the pairwise. Again, Augustana is right below them, 12-7-1.
I agree with Augustana. They got some great wins. They play, unfortunately, they don't play a great schedule. They only have 2 ranked opponents left, and they're both against Minnesota State. And unfortunately, I think they're going to run out of gas. They're going to be the Arizona State last year. We don't.
Yeah, Minnesota State's on the outside looking in too right now with the 12 team, which is ridiculous.
It's stupid. Like, this is insane. And like, a lot of people are going to say East Coast bias, and I kind of get that. Like, part of me is like, well, you're playing the best teams, you should get rewarded for that win. But
no,
if you're playing in the conference, like, they have to play each other.
Yep,
like,
exactly. Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll knock Michigan State hosted BC at a conference game. BU went to North Dakota. They're both mid, but that's supposed to be a big game. Michigan went to BU. It's supposed to be a big game. They're both in the mix there. Colorado College came out and played Providence. Like, that's a big one. Denver came to Maine. Like, I look at those games, I'm like, these are the big games we all want to see.
No, yeah, and Denver also got swept by Arizona State this year too. So it'll be a travesty if they miss being 14th right now.
Anyway. Right, and that's when I look at, like, what's great for Arizona State is I believe Denver's going to keep winning this year.
Oh yeah, for
sure. I think they're going to win more games. So that
and
they climb up,
also, how much do we take? They beat Maine the first game and lost the second game, but they did this without their head coach and without their best defensive player in Zeev Buyam. So,
and the game they won, if the head coach is there, they don't lose. That was something like a lot of us were in the stands. We're like, what? We were looking for Thompson, and we were looking for, I forget who number 7 is. I apologize, guy. The 2 best players on the ice, the 2 best forwards, anyways. Even if Z Williams there, they're their best forwards. They weren't on for a 4-on-4, and the main coach rapidly flipped his lines, put his 4 best forwards out. He put 4 forwards for a defensive zone faceoff. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
20 seconds later, Maine scores. They win. That was actually the winning goal.
I just would love to see these other kids get a chance too. Like, if Army ever has a good year, if University of Alaska Anchorage ever has a good year, if you put in the top 34, we get to it. All works out. You go
Cinderella.
You go from 34 to 16, from 16 to 8, from 8 to 4, from 4 to a champion. It's easy. The college basketball did the play-in games, and they have 64 in their tournaments. It's over in 2 weeks. I understand basketball logistically a lot easier to pull off than hockey, but let's not kid ourselves now. And you know what we could do with the 34 round tournament? You could have regional home games. Mm-hmm. So the number one team in the country, the Michigan State Spartans, could host in the first round the University of Alaska Fairbanks. Yep. What if University of Alaska Fairbanks beats them? Holy crap. It would be the greatest thing ever. But exactly. And Michigan State, their fans show out. Anyway, let's not go into this. It's not going to change. Okay, pairwise games that you highlighted. Number 11, UConn at Maine, number 3. I know Avi already commented in the chat about this game. He says he likes Maine to beat UConn at home. I can't disagree, but UConn swept UNH. They obviously have a good team. Where are you coming out on this one, Mike?
I'm with Avi that Maine wins, but if UConn steals a point here or even gets a split, like this,
good for their pairwise.
It is, and this is why I bring up the pairwise. Maine beat Denver, so they'll also get additional pairwise points for every game Denver wins. So if UConn steals a win here, this is huge. This is monumental. Like they could be, now I think if they get a win here and don't do what Providence
they're in the tournament right now, I think.
Yeah. But like last year, Providence was 7 at this point and decided to lose 8 out of their last 10 that didn't make the tournament.
Right. So Providence is going to be in the tournament this year. They're good. And that's the game I'm excited to watch. That's the game I would love to be at. We'll get to that game.
Yeah.
Michigan at Michigan State. This is a big one. That's a huge rivalry too. Michigan is on the cusp too, man. They're very much a borderline team this year.
Yeah, and I agree with them being borderline. I thought they were too high to start the year. Number 4, as a fan, I was thrilled for it, but let's run it back. I said they weren't that high. I did say they were a tournament team, and I think they win. I actually think the road teams win this one. So I think tonight Michigan's hosting. I like Michigan State. Sorry, Wolverine Nation. Tomorrow you're going to East Lansing. For those that don't know, they're 7 miles apart. I like the Wolverines on the road. So I think it's a split. And this is one that's going to be great for the pairwise. This is great for both BU and BC as well, particularly BU, because they've got losses to Michigan. BU needs to beat BC when that game comes around. But
again, so Michigan getting a split here would help some teams that blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, UNH versus BU.
UNH, congrats on beating Princeton. Good job. You took out the trash. I'm sorry, you just got swept by UConn. BU beat Princeton. Both of you need to win. It's pretty simple. Yeah. You have a home and home.
I mean, BU looks like they're going to be in, though, at the 7th, and I think they've been marginal this year.
I do, too. And then I think 2 years ago they were pretty marginal, but somehow they went on a Frozen Four run and got walloped by the Minnesota Golden Gophers in the Frozen Four.
Yeah, I was there for that game.
Right? Yeah.
I thought I'll be honest with you, I actually thought the officiating wasn't great in that game, and I thought Minnesota got a little lucky. And I told their head coach that.
That's right.
But I will just say this. Yeah, there's talent there for sure, Avi, in BU. But I just feel like every time I've watched them, they haven't looked that great. Now, Hudson looks good. Let's hope, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I thought BU got a little bit screwed over by the refs in that game. I didn't think Minnesota dominated. But again, it shows you the margin of separation here. Why not expand the tournament? We got to get John Butchergrass on here. I got to reach out to him and say, hey, would you ever come on and talk college hockey with us for 10 minutes? Okay. Arizona State, UNHBU, again, both those teams need wins, UNH especially.
Someone needs to take 3 to help themselves out. You need 3.
Yeah. Points. Arizona State at St. Cloud. I'm with Avi. Arizona State making the tournament would be freaking huge. I'm going to pop his comment back up. ASU making the same NCAA tournament would be amazing for sports. Hope Sun Devils stay hot. Their fans in the building are amazing. Abso-friggin-lutely.
Yes.
Love it. Almost wore my Arizona State hat, but didn't know where it was. So anyway, rooting for Arizona State.
I think they can do it. I think they can go in and beat Cloud.
I think they can too. And it's a big one. It's a big one, but St. Cloud's below Arizona State, so they can't afford to lose these games, quite frankly. They need to win these games on the road. And look, they swept Denver in Denver. That should count for something. Denver's going to keep winning. That should hopefully help Arizona State's ranking
Denver
go up.
Keeps winning. It'll boost it. Like there's going to be a week Arizona State loses and moves up because Denver just beat somebody. And it's going to be
Avi likes ASU in it. So
I do too.
Okay.
So we'll get to that game next. I was
No. If you give your pick now, because we're going through, we got a lot of games covered.
Yeah, we do. So. No, I was gonna say I was looking at stat line. So St. Cloud is on average 6 months older. They're about 1.5 inches taller and weigh about 10 pounds more per player. Arizona State's averaging 4 goals a game to St. Cloud's 2. So I really, really like Arizona's firepower here. And if you recall, earlier this year, BC went out to St. Cloud and manhandled them. Now, am I saying Arizona State's as good as BC? No. But when it comes to big games, St. Cloud hasn't been there. Right? They're 1-3 against top 15s. So I like Sparty here. And yeah, I'm fanboying them. You can call me out on that, but I want ASU in the tournament. I'm a fanboy for them. So.
Yeah. Quinnipiac versus Colgate.
As of someone who has a vendetta against Quinnipiac, I'm rooting for Colgate. But putting that
they
aside,
haven't been that great this year. I mean,
they haven't. Sorry, Quinnipiac. I watched you guys against Harvard. That was a tough game to watch. Your trap defense, goaltending is lights out every year. Kudos to your coach. That's how they run it, and it works. It wins.
They are the New Jersey Devils of college hockey from the 90s and 2000s, right? The Devils ran the trap.
They produce centermen that do well in the NHL. They produce defensemen that do well in the NHL. No one's flashy. They're all mid-6, but you know what? It's mid-6.
Right. Okay. So who do you like in this one? Quinnipiac, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I got it. No, give me Colgate. I want an upset. I'm gonna. If you need me to take a pick on this, I'm taking Colgate on the flyer. They went in early this year in Harvard and beat the bag out of them. They beat Dartmouth at Dartmouth. They show up to big games. They have this year. So give me Colgate. I like to brush my teeth.
Yeah, Minnesota State versus Michigan Tech, number 16 versus number 32. Lots of top picks here.
Again, Michigan Tech. Why we need 32 teams? Michigan Tech travels. Like they came to Providence last year and filled up a quarter of that arena. Now they got blown out, lost 8-0, but they travel well. Number one, they're a pretty good school. Minnesota State's at home. Give me Minnesota State. With that being said, Minnesota State, you need 4 points this weekend. You are 16. You're actually not in right now because of the auto bids. You need to beat Michigan Tech. With that being said, Michigan Tech wins. They're going to climb into the mid-20s. And they're going to be chomping at the bits, and they could get in. I think it's them or Bentley that gets the auto bid for that conference.
Avi says Minnesota State has to win. I don't disagree.
They need a sweep this weekend. They need 4 points.
St. Cloud at Arizona State. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Avi said Arizona State's at +1. Arizona State at home is +110. That doesn't sound right.
No, they're on the road for +110.
How are they on the road? You didn't write these correctly then. The home
Arizona State at St. Cloud. Oh, I put it backwards. No,
you son of a bitch.
I put the same game twice. That's my bad, Beard.
Oh, you did?
I did. I put the same game
twice.
You did
it. You did it. Okay, we already talked about it. Sorry. All right.
Yeah, see, Avi, I do like Arizona State on the road here. I do. And then, as we said, you need a sweep there for Arizona State. So I think the next game we have is UMass Amherst Merrimack. I will be there. My friends are all diehard Amherst fans because that's where they went to school. The Savage was a Merrimack Warrior. So it'll be a fun game for us. If you're UMass, you need to sweep this weekend.
Right. Yeah. They're still in the mix. They're still
Merrimack's riding high. Like this is the team I said last year.
They took from BU, like you said. That's a pretty good. Or BC, they beat BC.
But like the guys who picked the brackets, they said, look, the way the math works out, if they go 500, they're going to make the tournament, which is mind-boggling to me. But and so honestly, Merrimack at home, I'm kind of with Avi here. My fear is we just saw how the Czech Republic did in the the U20s. That's the same. That's the UMass goalie, for those that don't know.
Yep.
And Merrimack struggles to score goals.
Right.
So if you can find a line here, people take an under. Please, for the love of God, take an under. I can't find it. It's Mass versus Mass. I live in Mass. I can't bet it.
Yeah.
If you're out there somewhere, take an under.
Again, wise decision, state of Massachusetts.
Yes, also very clear. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Wisconsin versus Long Island. Long Island sneakily has some decent players on their team, by the way.
Drafted.
Yeah. I love it. I think that part of New York, people like our friend Johnny Lazarus from Morning Cup of Hockey, there's a lot of skill that comes out of that Long Island area that people don't think about. All those kids grew up Rangers and Islanders fans, and they've had good players to watch. So Avi likes the Badgers to win 5-2. Again, if we were playing the 32 game, Wisconsin's in easily. They're 19th. They're definitely probably going to have a tough time getting in. By the way, I've got new college hockey jerseys coming. Wisconsin is one of them. University of Alaska Anchorage is one of them. So gotta have
what helps Wisconsin is they have to play Michigan State, they have to play Michigan, and they have to play Minnesota. So they have lots of games against high-ranked teams. So I think they'll get in, assuming they win. Right? You're not going to get if you lose. Long Island, I checked their schedule. They just don't have. They don't have the games. I think they're going to be like Augustana. Might have the talent, but didn't have the opportunity to play. And then this goes back to what you said, Beard.
Yes, Wisconsin has to win. This is a powerhouse program that needs to be a powerhouse again. Yes. We're going to see G from Spit and Chicklets go to Wisconsin sooner than later. They're going to be one. I guarantee they're going to be one of those teams that has $1 million facilities and yada, yada, yada. So they got to win. Nodak at Western Michigan. Western Michigan, really good. Nodak, kind of mid. Kind of think Western Michigan all day here.
I love them at home. I do. Yeah. This is not a tournament game. It's a regular game. I love Western at home. Nodak, I love you guys. You were my first college jersey I ever bought. You should get a new coach.
Yeah, real quick, just to backtrack. Avi said he saw Long Island at Brown a few weeks ago. They got robbed by the Bears. So
that was a banger. I saw the highlights of that. It looked good. Yeah, if you could take a goal-scoring prop on the Wisconsin one, either Finley or Mosley to score, I'd love it tonight. I can't find that line, but I'm going to channel my inner Rico here. Finley and Mosley to score for Wisconsin, one of them. Don't parlay it. Just bet it.
Okay. Get back to North Dakota, Western Michigan.
If you can find Western 1.5, I can't find it right now. I'm going to check 365 and DraftKings again because I posted them a little late.
Yeah, I mean this is probably a pretty important weekend for Nodak too. But I just feel like Western Michigan is actually a really, really good team, and they should hold their home ice here.
Right. I look at this. If North Dakota sweeps, that probably puts them in the top 12. If Western gets swept, I think they fall back to 12-13. So massive weekend for both. If we get splits, I think Western drops to 10, and I think Nodak moves into 17-18.
Okay. And you texted me something.
Yes. I sent
and I've got it here.
As of now. And this is where I'm saying there's flaws in the pairwise.
Right. I'll try to – let's see if we can get this on the screen. Let's see if this will come up.
DraftKings minus 280. Oh, Avi, did it already posted? I got a bet in. Thank you, Avi. What a guy. Avi, if you go to Merrimack tonight, I'll buy you a beer. Oh, yeah, they're in. All right, cool. That was easy.
All right. Let me see if I can.
Yeah. So what? We touched on it earlier. As you're pulling up, I'll talk about it. For those that don't know the pairwise, when you win, you move up. You lose, you move down. It's pretty self-explanatory there. But as you play other teams, when they win, you get credit for beating a better opponent, or you get less damage for losing to a better opponent. And right now, I live in Massachusetts. I'm on the East Coast. There's an East Coast bias. I get it. You're not going to move me off BC being a top 3 team. And I've seen Providence enough times this year. You're not going to move me off them being a top 5. What's benefiting all the Hockey East teams is they're playing BC. They're playing Providence. Yes, someone on the committee is from UVM, which is Vermont, which is in Hockey East. So they're getting a little bit of boost there. What's the pairwise, the way the math is going to work out is like, oh, you lost to number 8. You're not getting penalized as much. And then you're beating number 4, like you're going to get rewarded. And it's tough for, say, a Colorado College, a North Dakota, a St. Cloud, who's playing teams in the teens, because, like, yeah, you beat number 12, but you didn't beat number 5. Yeah, you played number 10 6 times. Well, a school like Merrimack played BC 4 times. They're number 2. Like, so Merrimack gets a better RPI. They get a better strength of schedule. And their wins going to look better. And this is a flaw in the system.
This is why we need 34. Okay.
Yes.
Here's what we have right now. Would be the matchups? The 1 versus 16 would be Michigan State versus Bentley.
Yep.
Boston University versus Ohio State. That would be the first bracket. Boston College versus Minnesota State. Western Michigan versus UMass Lowell. Maine versus Quinnipiac. Denver versus Connecticut. Minnesota would take on New Hampshire, and then Providence, Michigan. So that's the way they have it seated right now. I can't show it. I got to figure this out. I'm having some problems with Chrome. So,
it's 7. Like, to me, that's 7 out of 11 Hockey East schools. Like, strong conference. Don't get me wrong, but that's a lot. Like, it's, to me, that makes it almost makes the tournament unwatchable. Like, if this is how it falls. Like, I can just sit on my couch. I've been doing this all season. Why do I need to go buy more tickets? Why do I need to travel? I've already seen these guys play. It kind of stinks, but again, it's just a flaw. I hope they get 32 teams. I know they can expand to 24 if they get this new conference coming in. We've talked about it at length, but it's going to be another New England-based conference. So it's, I don't know, more East Coast biased, I guess, but none of the schools are powerhouses. St. Mike's, St. Asylum, or St. Anselm's, Hobart, Endicott College. They're coming, teams coming up from D3 that were very talented. I think they'll get some auto bids for at least the start. I mean, looking at the matchups now, I see some quote unquote upsets. I think Ohio State beats BU. I think they usually show up. And when I saw them play a couple years ago.
Yeah, I hope it changes. When's the last game of the season? When's
March.
So we got a ways to go. We're in January. This is just too much speculation to just say these are what's going to happen. We need to wait till the end of February. We've got a long way to go before there's a lot to shake out, I think, here. So I know you said you could go long, Mike, but I cannot go long. I've got to get ready for the other show. I've got some other stuff to do. Yep. Do you have any alibis, anything you want to talk about before we call it a
quick run through? Again, we kind of hit on all the games. The biggest one I want to point out, Big Ten, Michigan State. That's conference seeding. That's big for the tournament. It played a factor last year. Michigan Tech, Minnesota State, again, for the CCHA tournament. That affects Bentley.
Well, and let me ask you, let's say Michigan State dominates Michigan. Does that drop Michigan any in the pairwise? Because they're number one team. So that's what I'm saying.
It's still a loss. You still fall. You don't.
But what I'm saying is, this is why I don't understand. Okay, you lost the number one team, but you're not gonna drop that much because they're the number one team.
Right.
Okay, that's fair, but it's like, okay, if you play in a good conference, then you're going to have a better chance to make the tournament, i.e. expand the tournament.
Yep.
It's just ridiculous. So, okay.
Plus, bets, we got to get to those because, I am a degenerate.
I thought we kind of talked about those going through. Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to fire the odds out real quick. Main 60-minute line is minus 185. I'm actually going to parlay them just straight money line at minus 270, thanks to Avi. Western Michigan plus 1.5 at minus 280. The parlay comes out to a minus 118. Those are my bets for you. Live in New Hampshire. Providence is minus 154 plus 1.5. I don't love it. Tomorrow when they're at home, I do. So I think if you can get Providence plus 1.5 goals tomorrow night, take it. Guys, I'll be on Twitter. I'll post my picks tomorrow night.
Yep, and Mike's Twitter, scroll them below. All right, everybody. I love you. We'll see you next Friday. Peace.
You guys.